What is up, everybody? I am your host, Shane Mallard, joined by my co-host,
Ricky DeCosta.
And tell the folks what time it is.
Run it back.
It is time to run it back, episode 15. Guys, before I introduce this special show today, please like, comment, and subscribe. We are loving the feedback on all the channels we are getting right now. But without further ado, let's get to the guest and why we have this special setup on the set today.
Mix up, right?
All right?
We change things
so
up a
before
little
I
bit.
even say his name, we are fortunate enough to get a 4-star Ohio State commit, okay? Going there, I believe, to play safety, although judging by, I was blessed enough to see him play on the high school football field.
Okay.
They might be sprinkling him all over the place. The kid's got a ton of talent. But just read you off some of these stats right here. His career stats, all right, for his career, 280 tackles his senior year, 126 tackles. It was good for an average of over 10 tackles per game. 2 career interceptions, 1 sack, a 3-year varsity starter. 2 times first team all-county, 3-time first team all-division. He plays in the Big North, which is not only the best conference probably in the country. It's one of the best conferences, in the state. It's one of the best conferences in the country. 2-time first team all-state. Played all over the defensive backfield. He played corner and safety. Basically, every week's defensive game plan was, where are we putting this man right here? Okay, and on top of all that, he's a National Honor Society member with a GPA of 4.3. Everybody give it up for Jaylen McClain. Jaylen, man. Yeah, appreciate you coming out, man.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. So listen, we have this show every week and we debate our sports topics and opinions, but the folks, you are the star, you are the guy that the show is about today. So the folks really want to know about you. So why don't you just start off, maybe just give us a little bit of a background on yourself, where you come from, family life, town, and how you got into football.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Rahway, New Jersey. Not too far from here. I live with both my parents, Maurice and Sarita McClain, my younger brothers, Kenyon and Cameron McClain. Basically, I got into football from just, influence. My uncles all played sports, football, especially in college. My father played it at Syracuse. That's where he met my mom at. So just watching him.
Played with Dwight Freeney too,
yes,
didn't he?
Yeah. So just watching him when I was younger at the parks and stuff like that, and just playing flag football, that's how I got in. Just beating the little wagon. My mom used to push me around. It was just in me to play it.
So, but yeah, it's in your blood, right? Like, it's basically what you're saying. That's beautiful.
So the family was definitely a big inspiration for you.
Sure.
Father, you said, uncles both played. That's great, man. So let me ask you, you've been playing since you said 5 years old.
5 years old.
Right? When would you say was the first kind of encounter or realization where you felt like, I can really play at the Division I level?
So when I was around 12 years old, I had played 7-on-7 with this team called the Game Changers, and that's with the program called Brick City Lions from
In Newark, right?
Yep, in Newark.
Yep.
So when I played with them, I felt like I was dominant at receiver, and I was playing a little bit of defensive back as well. But when I was dominating in these tournaments, getting my name known and stuff like that, and I actually played for the Brick City Lions tackle football team in the fall and the summer and stuff like that. And that's when I started getting recognition from high schools in the Big North, Senior Hall, Prep, Peters, Don Bosco, and etc. And then that's when I actually got inside the school and played a little bit, freshman football. Obviously, COVID year though, so season was
tough
short.
year, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I had to play 7-on-7 because pretty much that's the only way around this time to get recruited. At an early age and stuff like that. Dominated once again. I actually got switched to cornerback from Coach Fitz had told me that was a need at that position around this time.
Okay.
So he told me I had a shot to play. So I switched to corner, started. I got better straight from just reps at these camps, just exposed myself, just getting to know it a little bit. Obviously, I had my uncles, my fathers,
coaching
exactly,
even outside the building.
So that obviously helped me out a lot. And then I got my first offer, and that's when I knew Power 5 is could be my destiny, something I could do in the future. And then stuff shot out from there.
All right.
Quick question, right? You brought up COVID, right? Obviously that changed the world and everything like that. How did that affect you? Did you have any setbacks, right? That COVID year, and how were you able to, keep grinding, training, and getting better?
So it was really hard because obviously a lot of things were shut down.
Sure.
And we had to work a lot differently when I got to high school. We had to work in pods, and people couldn't touch each other. People couldn't.
You had to stay within that pod.
So you had to stay within.
Remember that.
You had to stay in where you had to be from day one. So obviously it's hard to work out and stuff like that, and it was just hard to just get around. Just had to a lot of places you couldn't camp at. You couldn't go this. Couldn't go this. I mean, couldn't go there without this. And it was just hard. So you had to go through a lot of adversity just to get to a field or just play football. We only had about 4 games my freshman year.
Wow.
So
it's tough.
Yeah, you couldn't really do much with what you had. So
you have a bunch of games canceled probably due to different COVID
So,
complications.
The season ended without us even realizing. And I was a little bit hurt my freshman year. So my last practice, I didn't know it was gonna be my last practice because
everything was
just shut down after that. So, yeah.
Did that give you more time to train and get better and develop, and when did your growth spurt hit that your body really changed into a D1 body?
Oh yeah, for sure. Right after the season ended, I had to let my body heal a little bit, obviously, because I was a little banged up.
Yeah.
And then that's when right after that I realized, okay, like next is varsity. Like that's a big deal. You're gonna be going against running backs about 220 pounds. Receivers are getting like a lot faster than you. Might even mush you over, on the block. So I had to get big. I was about 165 pounds my freshman year. I was like, Coach Fitz told me like, I'm gonna play you if you get to 175. So, okay, I have to get on my muscle a little bit, and then that's when I started lifting weights a whole lot.
There you go.
Started getting a couple supplements, help.
Sure.
Muscle milk stuff
Sure,
like that.
sure.
Track took off a little bit. I didn't realize how fast I was until I really got to track.
Okay.
So you got the speed training too as well.
Yeah,
100%.
And obviously, lifting with Coach Max Ruiz, that helps out a lot.
Shout out, that dude's awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He was a Ohio State strength and conditioning intern, so he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's where I got it from.
Okay.
So you talked a little bit. You alluded to like the Big North, obviously. Was that something that you and your family had kind of always talked about? Like, hey, we want to go play big time football. We need to play in the Big North.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I used to go to like all these football games in the Big North, St. Peter's Prep, Seton Hall Prep, and
Don Bosco, all that.
DePaul
Sure.
Catholic, all
Bergen
those
Catholic, all these
Yeah,
teams.
you go to freshman for days and stuff like that, and just trying to figure out where I'll fit in at most.
Sure.
I did a bunch of those, and then that's when I realized, okay, like these guys are going to college for free. That's what I want. You're going to big time schools. That's what I want.
So you're thinking about that in 8th grade.
Yeah, it's this is the perfect spot for me.
Okay.
It's
Now-
a different mind.
Yeah,
It's a
100%
different mindset.
different
yeah.
mind. Now, did that mindset and inspiration, come, like you said, from your dad and your uncle? What positions did they play, right, to influence
Yeah,
you?
so my father was a safety as well at Syracuse. Obviously I knew like, especially in the time we live in right now, I would say it's a lot easier to go Division I, Power 5, whatever, from these Catholic private schools.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You got way
Right.
more eyeballs coming in to see those
exactly.
programs.
Not that public schools don't get these type of looks, but I want to go somewhere where majority of the eyes are on me.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I feel like people respect that. My parents respected that. Obviously, a lot of time, money goes into these types of things. So shout out to them on that. But I feel like that's what I want, so I had to go get it.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
that. So going on all along that whole Big North team, what was the ultimate decision, I guess, or reason for going to Seton Hall Prep? I know now because I work there. It's a fantastic place, but
Yeah, it's different. Obviously talking to a lot of people that already went there. Just being in the building for the freshman for a day, talking to Coach Fitz, and obviously just knowing people from there.
Sure.
Just like
a lot of good people,
Yeah.
great coaching staff too.
Just knowing from their experiences, I just knew like I want to be a part of a brotherhood that's like that. To hear that they don't want to lose bonds that they've had in high school, and they felt like they grew like a brotherhood and just they like love on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you want to go to school where there's love, genuine love? So I feel like, from experiencing that myself right now, I could say like that's true.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
so
awesome.
I believe it.
Type of program too, where it's like even though you're going to go off to a big time school, all right, play Division I football, you'll always come back,
Yeah,
talk to
exactly.
the guys,
Yeah.
say hi to the coaches.
Sure,
That's
sure.
That's great, man, and it shows you that. While obviously it's about playing at that high level, it's about the relationships that you build
Yeah,
along the
exactly.
way too, as well.
Yeah.
You
Now,
want- go ahead.
so I was going to say, take a moment and talk a little bit about the recruiting process,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because
Perfect.
ultimately,
Exactly what I was gonna ask.
it's you brought up your parents and they brought you to 7-on-7,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Drove you around, and now you're being recruited by Ohio State, other big time schools. Just shed our audience a little insight on that process, and then how you came to the decision to pick Ohio State.
Right. So obviously, up until official visits, like it's a lot of time, dedication, money, and just football. because you can't play for the the offers. You have to play for yourself, and then that stuff will come.
Yeah.
So obviously, like taking like the recruiting process, when you're a freshman, sophomore, these coaches can't formally talk to you, so they have to figure out ways to get in contact with you, whether it's talking to your coach, tell Jaylen to call me.
So your junior year,
yeah,
right?
Your junior year, they can't formally talk to you, so it's a lot because they have to try to get through your coach to get to you, just to call
Just let people know you're interested.
Yeah,
they're interested in you.
Exactly. Just to tell you, by the way, Jaylen, we'll offer him, or tell Jaylen, we got this date for a visit for a camp and stuff like that. So obviously, like freshman, sophomore year is a lot. You still get a lot of recognition, and if you're like that, you get a lot of offers in that time. But when you get to junior year, that's when stuff gets real. Like I feel like that around I get to my junior year, that's when stuff got just real and
heated up.
Yeah, a lot. It started heating up a lot.
Yeah.
Every coach wanted you to come on this day, and you're like, oh man, I got to figure out which school I'm gonna go to.
They really put the pressure on you.
Right? That's when stuff like I would say the recruiting process is fun, but people don't know how stressful it is unless you're in it.
Just gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I never took it for granted. It was all a blessing, but I'm happy it's all over. The official visits, it's all paid for and stuff like that. So I feel like that took a load off my parents, having not to pay for a flight or hotel, and all that type of stuff, and the food, because it's all taken care of.
Yeah, that's a big factor. I didn't even think about that. The fact that you got to travel to all these different places. So.
Oh, absolutely, right? And sometimes, did you go to like mini combines and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they, you could showcase yourself in front of a couple different schools.
So you still have to, on top of the visits, you have to do that stuff. You still have track practice because the springs when things start opening up a little bit, I had to miss meets, practice, and I had to talk to coach a lot. Say, man, I might have to miss this meet. I have to go to the school to showcase.
I forgot that intro. He's a star track athlete too, as well.
So, a lot goes into like this process that people don't know behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So obviously, ultimately, I picked Ohio State. On my last official visit. So it was pretty good.
Now, what made him different, right? What made him exciting? Why Ohio State?
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, like Ohio State refers to themselves as BIA, Best in America.
Ooh.
So that's just
I'm not surprised.
Okay.
So that's just the defensive.
I see you, Ohio State. I like that.
I do like that.
Yeah, and that's just the defensive back group alone. They call themselves defensive back university as well. So that's a great selling point alone, especially me as a defensive back. Also like the coaches are real genuine with the love. I felt it as soon as I walked in the door. I visited a couple times because I just wanted to feel that love again. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure it was real.
That same brotherhood that you talked about earlier that led you to high school.
That's a good point. Right? Yeah, you want to feel that same.
Obviously I spoke to a lot of players on the team. They allowed me to obviously my official visit had to allow me to go out with them and talk to them without the coaches being there because they wouldn't lie to me. They had no reason to lie to me.
Sure.
So they would just tell me straight up what it is, and I liked what I heard, and then ultimately I picked it because just the brotherhood, defensive back university. My parents were pretty much like all in on it, and when your parents are all in on it, your family likes the decision. I like the decision. That's why I want to go.
It's funny that you brought up your parents. I wanted to ask, how helpful were they through the process? How much did they guide you? Did they kind of set you up with like certain questions or just tell you like, hey, you're going to this college or that college? Right. Don't just think about the football. What do you want to do? Like beyond football, what are the other interests as well?
So my mom's an educator. So obviously like she was good on like the school side. She wanted to know everything about that.
Academic
part. Obviously my father was in on that too as well, but he had the football side.
The football
training, the development.
Right. So like he was a football player as well. He went through the same process as me, so he knows what to look at. So I feel like both of them helped me out. It was a pretty good balance because my mom asked the right questions that I wouldn't have asked myself, personally, and then my dad asked the questions that I would probably ask, and obviously more because he went through college.
Sure.
Not just the recruiting process, but went through college, so he would know like how's my son get developed. Is he gonna be getting coached the right way? Like in my mind, is gonna be able to have the right major that he wants to major in? Mm-hmm. Is the campus too big? Or is he gonna be able to get around, that type of thing? So,
and it's really important too to have your parents there as like guiding figures because you're 16, 17-year-old kid going through all this. You don't know you don't know any of these questions sometimes of what to ask. Right. So I'm sure that's a huge help.
Yeah, so they were a big support system, right?
For sure.
So let me ask you this. Football's a tough sport, and I know your father played it, your uncle played it. Did your mother ever, hesitate in you playing football, or was she always all in?
Yeah, she was for sure all in. Yeah, she never.
Shout out to all the moms out there, you know, the football moms.
I saw it first. She's like one of the first moms that's always there at the game, one of the last ones to always leave. She was
Beautiful.
extremely dedicated to the program.
Yeah.
The family in general is just, it's a great thing to see, the support system all around. He's got 2 younger brothers. I'm going to be coaching his other younger brother next year.
Oh,
I
yeah?
unfortunately didn't get to coach him directly. I got to
Okay.
just see him on the sidelines, but let me tell you firsthand, that was enough, man.
Safeties too, DBs.
Yep, DBs. Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, the younger one might be a linebacker. He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
All right.
So, listen, we're talking about all this stuff. You made your decision about going to Ohio State. Obviously, you got to go on a tremendous amount of visits. You got to see a lot of part of the country. But to get this offer that you got to be a 4-star, to be the level of player that you are, you had to have, a rigorous, training process.
Yeah,
and you and I talked about this a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
But give some of the guys, maybe some of the up and coming guys, like just an insight into what it's like, training as a Division I athlete.
Oh yeah, like first and foremost, just grind. Like, don't worry about nothing else. Just worry about your craft. Keep getting better on your craft. Don't worry about anyone else. Just work on what you have to do. Because other stuff will come if you just do what you have to do.
Sure.
But like obviously, I was working out. At least on just my defensive back stuff about every weekend. Like that was just the every weekend type of thing. I was making sure I was lifting all the time. So that's about 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Obviously, track was every day. So like I was running. I was on the track.
That's smart. Now, was that
200
your...
meter, 400 meter.
1, 2, 4.
Oh, everything. Okay.
Yeah.
You had some good times in those too, as well.
Yep.
And I know you had won a couple, right?
Oh yeah. We were all Americans in the 4x4. Yeah.
All Americans.
Yeah.
All Americans, man. That's impressive. So we're talking about the lifting. The track was basically like speed training, which I think was extreme. Now, was that an idea you kind of came up on your own? Did you always like track?
So around later in elementary school, that's my father has developed a track program, and that's when me and my brothers all did it, my friends. So I started doing that stuff, just stay in shape for football season and stuff like that.
Smart.
And then obviously I got to high school. We were the real deal. These past couple years in track. So I feel like okay.
Got a couple football guys on the throwing side too, as well.
So, did the real deal in throwing, field as well. Obviously the track, we were all Americans in that. So I feel like that aspect of just the football alone, just the speed, the agility, that was essential for me.
Would you recommend that to most guys that are trying to go Division I? Like do the speed training, run track.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because even just saying you run track alone to a college coach is like, okay, he's a guy that likes to compete in other sports. He likes to run. He likes to help himself get faster. So I feel like that's a big deal.
I like that.
Okay.
Anything to add on that?
I was gonna pivot a little bit, right? Because with speed, footwork, and all those types of things, you'd work on your DB craft on the weekend. Just for all the DBs out there, the people that's looking to get to your level, just what are some 1 or 2 drills that you do to develop your skill, your footwork or your hip mobility?
Oh, yeah. So I feel like hip mobility is a big thing. I feel like as a DB, you're prone to a lot of groin and hip type of injuries and little bang ups. I feel like that's what had me a little bit my freshman, sophomore year, a little bit.
Yeah, to build up.
It's my junior year, so I feel like you have to build up your hips. Make sure you do hip mobility workouts. You don't have to backpedal or anything to work on that. Just work on make sure your hips are loose, opening up, and just footwork alone. Because if you're a cornerback, you have to move side to side a lot. Stay in front of people.
Sure.
Defensive back, you have to worry about opening up on different type of angles, coming downwards to make tackles. So I feel like to do those types of things.
And then in terms of actual drills that you do weekend wise, DB drills.
Obviously, clean, just back pedal.
Okay.
Open up to the quarterback, open up away from the quarterback.
Okay.
Breaking downwards because you have to come down, make tackles, break on footballs, and all that type of stuff. So those type of quick drills.
Respect that.
So to ask a fun question, right? A fun question. So who are your top 5 NFL DBs? All time, current, however you want to answer it. Who's your top 5 DBs?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with. I watch Ed Reed's and Sean Taylor's highlights for every single game.
This is a student of the game. I like that. Okay.
Literally every single game, I'm watching Sean Taylor's highlights. Literally for every game on the bus, in the locker room. So Sean Taylor's number 1. I'm gonna have to go Ed Reed, number 2.
Ed Reed.
And then
A lot of interceptions right
Oh,
there.
yeah. man.
I like watching Dion 3. And then current players, I like I say Derwin James on the Chargers.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Tall, athletic.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Minka Fitzpatrick, safety.
Wow.
All right. You like the well-rounded DBs that can cover
Yeah, exactly.
and DBs that can hit.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
noticed your lineup, you know.
So
Yeah.
you would like this question, so I'm going to ask him again. You get drafted to the NFL.
Yep.
Line it up, all right? They put you out at corner.
Okay.
Who is the receiver that you want to line up and match up against?
Ooh.
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, you want that smoke?
This man is going for it, man.
You know that's like 4-2 right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And now, again, kind of explaining it, why?
I just want to, obviously, like you see on TV, just burning people, just running past, catching everybody. Even when he catches the ball in front of them, making a move, scoring a touchdown. I just want to see how that looks like in front of me, and just want to see like, if I get my hands on him, run with him a little bit. Obviously, I might not be there right now, but I just want to see how that would feel. Why they getting tortured out there like that? So
Yeah.
You want to see what it's all
yeah, I
about.
want to see what it's
Okay.
about.
Hey, listen, that's the true smoke right
Listen,
there.
but you got to respect it. He wants to go after the best, man, the competition. I respect that mentality.
And listen, right now, that's my current MVP in the
Oh, yeah,
NFL.
for sure,
right now, listen, it's a quarterback award, so
There's never a
Purdy
year
or
that a quarterback wouldn't get
Jaylen
it.
or Dak, one of them is going to get it. But Tyreek Hill,
Oh, yeah, for
2,000 yards.
Yeah,
he's made that Miami offense. And don't get me, Waddle's nice too, right? But they're doing Tyreek is really doing something special.
Sure.
So that's my MVP. So
I
to
agree.
talk about that's the smoke that you want and
Yeah.
that you would want to line up one-on-one with Tyreek Hill, that's pretty
Wow,
awesome.
man. I respect that. I respect
100%.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
So wait, I want to go back to actually. You know what? Let's stay on this. Talked about a receiver you want to play, your best D-backs. Okay, let's look at it like this: top 5 quarterbacks / maybe the guy you wouldn't want throwing on you.
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes got to be number 1.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in
That's
agreement
like
there. We're in
universal
agreement
right
there. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Just to play against Lamar Jackson, number 2.
Ah,
Ooh,
we're big
that's a
Lamar.
tough tackle
We are
right
big
there.
Lamar fans on
Hey,
this.
shout out B Moore.
Who wants to tackle that guy? Like,
Yeah.
He's different.
Not easy.
Tua, he's delivering the ball to him every time.
all right.
Like you gotta give him his props.
Okay.
C.J. Stroud, he's underrated for MVP talks right now. For sure.
Well, I tell you.
Listen, he threw him
Hey,
out
this
for an
is a
MVP
smart man
earlier,
right there,
so
right?
it's all right.
And there's something special about CJ Stroud,
Sure.
really.
Yeah, and then
All right.
definitely Josh Allen, big guy, big arm. Like you can't go wrong.
I'm falling out here, man. No Joey Cool Burrow or nothing like that. No. Listen, here's what I'll say. If it's going from a pure talent and athleticism perspective, I agree with you. Josh Allen is like a freak.
Yeah, for sure.
A little too much turnovers, right? But we don't
but-
want to get into details.
But again, you're
But,
talking about wanting to tackle Lamar. You want to tackle Josh Allen? That's a big
Well,
boy.
listen,
you know?
he might want those picks though, right? Like,
True.
You
You know what? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, if you're playing against Allen, you might be getting on TV that game.
Yeah,
So.
definitely.
I like that. So listen, we're talking all this NFL, who you'd like to match up. I guess I want to kind of twofold this question. What keeps you motivated / what is kind of the end goal? I assume probably we want to play big time one day,
yeah,
right?
For sure. So
Okay.
I obviously want to go to the NFL, but what keeps me motivated is just the grind. Obviously, like it's just something I grew up on that I just never wanted to stop. So the grind is real special for me. Obviously, like my family. No one in my family has been able to do this before. So I feel like that's what also keeps me motivated. I want to be the first in my family, become, a millionaire, and, play on TV with, other big names, big guys, big teams, be able to walk across the stage on draft day.
Yeah.
And just,
Put that hat on.
Yeah, put the hat on, just walk back to the green room with my family and celebrate. So I feel like that'll just be big and just,
I respect too, and you've said it a few times on the show, the grind, like embracing the grind. Like I was not a Division I football player. I was fortunate enough to obviously wrestle at Division I level, but I can tell you right now, I've watched you and know myself. You're a much higher level athlete than me. But that whole the idea of the grind, I don't think you realize enough for all the little kids that could be potentially watching this or watching you in various interviews. It can't be understated.
Right.
Like how hard the work is going into being the level of athlete that you are.
Yeah, so people really don't know until like you're in it, and it's like you realize like how close you are to your goals or how far you are from your goals, and like at the stage I am right now, about to go to college, like I realize how close I am. I just like it makes me want to go harder. Like obviously I have the people behind.
So
me.
you don't feel like you've missed out then?
No.
Right? Because like obviously it's early mornings, long nights, right? You've been injured, right? You've been nicked up. right? So ultimately, right, you haven't feel like you missed out. You're where you want to be, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. Yeah, because not everybody wants to party, but not everybody wants to grind. Like so. I feel like
How's that word again, man?
I just want to make sure. I'd rather keep my priorities straight and just work. Obviously, I have fun and stuff like that with my friends, family, all that. But like the grind comes first, and once I make it, then I'll be able to party, have fun, and all that type of stuff. So I feel like just have your priority. Like everybody watching, all the young kids, just keep your priorities straight. And things will start coming.
I love that, man. Again, it's like put the. It's about the journey, it's about the mission, and you can't let things kind of take you away from that.
Right.
I really respect that. So listen, obviously you train extremely hard, okay? And you eat reasonably well.
Yep.
But I mean, it's like, we're all athletes.
Yeah.
We got to have that day where we chill one day, eat something good. What's that cheat meal?
See, I'm like a real big Chipotle guy, but I'll say that's kind of healthy, but like Chinese food is definitely definitely up there.
I love the Chinese
We're talking
food,
about like
man.
some wings and pork fried rice,
Yeah,
or we talking, some shrimp and broccoli.
See,
What?
Yeah, the fried chicken wings and pork fried rice definitely.
My God.
Top tier right there.
Yeah, he was talking about the fried chicken, and I was saying how good that is actually at the Chinese food restaurants, man. I really do like the fried chicken, but pork fried rice, man,
Yeah, for sure.
respect that for sure, man. Listen, I'm not sure if I think we have like a couple more minutes left at least on this segment. Okay.
So let's do this, right?
Go
We
ahead.
talked about the food, right? So listen, game day.
Oh,
You're about to play, big game, big rivalry game. Tell us about your playlist, right? Like, what's on your playlist? I know you said you're watching Sean Taylor, you're watching Ed Reed, but like music-wise, what are you listening to? What gets you in the zone?
So definitely a lot of Lil Baby.
This is the guy I keep hearing about. I know this is the guy I keep hearing about.
Yeah, Lil Baby, Lil Durk, Lil Uzi. Top 3 guys I've just listened to just get locked in.
Okay.
Guys.
All right. No Pac, no Biggie? No?
No,
Man.
Different generations, brother.
Times have changed, man.
Yeah.
How about Drake?
No, I can't lock into him. Like, it's for a football game, I can't lock in.
All right. Fair.
Like old
Fair.
school, we used to listen to like, Linkin Park and, a little rock and that type of stuff to really just.
Now you're really
set
aging us, man. He might not even know Linkin Park. Now, I don't know. No, so that's interesting. So, obviously, you have like the pregame with the team, what they do. Do you have any rituals or things that you like to kind of do yourself before the game?
So I work out like on the field, like right before we say go out like as a team. So like without my helmet on, pads on, just go out there in my pants and cleats, just stretch out a little bit on the field, feel the turf, see what I'm playing on, do a couple drills. Nothing like to just break a little sweat before I go out there, so I won't be all cold and stuff like that.
Sure.
And obviously, I watched Sean Taylor, and I watched this other player called Grant Delpit, his LSU highlights. He plays for the Browns right now.
Okay.
I feel like I try to play like him.
That's a good defense right now, too.
Yeah,
Man.
so I feel like I try to play like him a little bit. So I watch him, Sean Taylor, all the time. And I just I pray a lot before the game, just get myself in the right mode and just pray for my health, my teammates' health, pray for the win, obviously, and just pray for the like everybody that's there. So I just
And when you watch these guys, you're kind of trying to like take pieces of their game and kind of incorporate it into how you play.
Sure. Yeah.
Respect, man.
That's also all right. So my last question, during this segment. All right, so you used to be a wide receiver. You played that. All right, you're lining up, get an interception, you run it back. What's your touchdown dance?
So like me, I'm not like the type to dance, but like I do like this little thing. I just like put the mask on. Like that's what you do. Like you just gotta feel like
Okay.
that. Like,
All right, because the DBs now are locking it down.
Like he's a thief. Yeah, he's locking it down.
but if I lock something down, I actually hit, the seatbelt.
Yeah.
Should I show him the dab again?
I
I did it wrong too the first time. Well, listen, man, we're having a lot of fun talking to you. We would love to have you back on again, a second segment right after this. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back with our man Jaylen with some more questions when we come back to Run It Back.
Yeah.
What is up, everybody? We are back. Segment number 2 of Run It Back. All right, I am joined by my co-host, Ricky DaCosta, and we also have our special guest star, Jaylen McClain, in the building. So we're going to talk a little bit of ball. You know how the show works sometimes. We like to debate some things, talk about some stuff. So, obviously, huge. You're going into the college, you're going into the college football very soon. Huge college football games this past weekend. Very obviously they set up the college football playoffs that we're all going to be walking into right now. So let's talk first about, we had Washington, Oregon, and then we had, who's on the other side? Michigan and Ohio State. Well, there were a bunch, it was all
Michigan,
the conference
Iowa,
championship
right?
games,
So
that set it up.
the top 4 goes Michigan at 1, right? We got Washington at 2. We got Texas at 3, Alabama at 4. We got FSU at 5.
Well, let's start
Georgia
there.
at 6.
I want to ask him.
There's a little honorable mention, right? We got Ohio State at 7.
We did. Fair.
Right, so,
That's
right,
fair.
Right,
but I wanted to ask him right away, before we get into the breakdown of the matchups, what do you think about FSU getting left out?
I feel like it was understandable, but Florida State definitely was the deserving team to be at either 3 or 4 spot, but the committee definitely used a lot of logic when it came to the quarterback being out.
What matchups drive the most money?
The matchups and who are the 4 best teams, not the 4 best deserving teams, but who are the 4 best teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like obviously FSU definitely got snubbed because they had an undefeated season, ACC championship, but Bama, Texas, Washington, Michigan. Those are the teams that everyone wants to see.
So it's funny, right? I agree with you. I'm going to add something to it. I think the committee picked the 4 best champions, right? Because, listen, if we talk about the best teams, Georgia's one of the best teams.
Oh, yeah.
Right? 100%.
Sure.
Georgia's one of the top
They
4
lost their
teams.
final game.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. After being, 28, 29 in a row.
I think it was 29,
2 national championships.
Yep.
So definitely Georgia's one of the best teams. But I think when you had to separate them, they picked all champions.
Yep.
Right? Michigan, undefeated, Big Ten champion. Washington, undefeated, Pac-12 champion.
Which is now disbanded.
Right? So then it goes Texas, Alabama.
Yeah.
Texas beat Alabama.
They did.
Right? Alabama had the 5th toughest schedule in the league.
They weren't going to leave the SEC champ out.
But listen, at the end of the day, their schedule warranted them being in because of who they beat, when they beat them.
Sure.
And unfortunately, and it's in the bylaws, right? If you beat a team, that's one up on that team. So when Texas beats Alabama, the only way Alabama could get in is if Texas is in. And therefore pushes FSU out.
And listen, you have 3 classically great programs in Texas, Bama, and Michigan, and then you got the up-and-comer in Washington. So it's interesting at the same time, and at least they spread out across the 4 conferences, right?
For sure.
So that was good. So let's talk about these games a little bit here. I want to get your take first, Jaylen, on Washington, Texas. How do you think that game goes? How do you like the matchup?
I feel like the Pac-12 defense is a little bit behind in the way they, tackle, cover, and all that type of stuff.
I tend to agree.
Obviously Texas offense is explosive. Quinn Ewers at the quarterback, Xavier Worthy at receiver. I seen he got hurt last game against Oklahoma State because I was watching that. But I'm not. If he's playing, I feel like it'd definitely be a game where it's a game that's gonna be in the 40s, 50s possibly because of how Michael Penix throw the ball. And
got a rocket.
Yeah,
man.
he's a rocket.
Yeah, he does have a rocket. And he's got some dudes on that team, too.
Oh, yeah, the receivers they have, the running
Rome
back.
Madunze, Dylan Johnson. Yeah, they got guys. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So,
High scoring game in that one.
For sure.
And then what about Michigan and Alabama? How you see that one going?
That's going to be a game. So the Michigan run game versus the Alabama defense, that's going to be what people want to see. We're going to see how, Blake Corum going to run the ball on, like Caleb Downs on Alabama, the linebacker they have. So we're going to see.
All right, so who do you think pulls it out?
All right, so I got Alabama edging Michigan.
Okay.
Because SEC, they got some guys up front. I feel like, push Michigan back a little bit. And then I got Texas beating Washington, by 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Ooh,
wow.
So you got the rematch going, Alabama, Texas, national championship game.
Yep.
All right, I agree with you. Right?
Do you agree with on both matchups?
On both matchups.
Okay.
Both matchups. So, who takes it?
Alabama. I feel like Texas was due to make it to the championship with, the circumstances of, going against Washington, the Pac-12 defense. I feel that was going to be that was going to be the win. And then obviously, Bama making it, I feel like that was going to be the situation. And then with, Bama going against Texas, we know how that went down in the beginning of the season with Texas being Alabama, I think, in Tuscaloosa. So I feel like Alabama's, Alabama have a bad taste in their mouth about that. And at a higher stage, I feel like they don't come back, and win this game.
So wait, you guys are on the same page. You have Bama and Texas meeting up in the national championship.
Agreed.
All right, I guess I got to play devil's advocate here, guys. I'm going to respectfully disagree. I'm going to go with the 2 undefeateds. A little bit of new blood getting injected into the national championship this year. I think the transfer portal has changed a lot in college football. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big SEC fan. It's probably my favorite conference in football. But I think the transfer portal has really leveled the playing field and gotten a lot of the other conferences better a lot quicker. That being said, I like your take on the Texas-Washington game in terms of it's going to be a shootout, but I like Washington to just get that ball at the end, score and win, all right? And that's hard for me, too, because I'm a Texas guy through and through. Love Texas, all right? Hook 'em horns.
Yes, sir.
But I like Washington has got a great story behind their team this year. And then with Bama and Michigan, I'm with you. I think that is going to turn into an instant classic, but I just feel like it's Harbaugh and Michigan's time. They've been itching, scratching at the doorstep, and they just finally get through. And I like the other matchup. But
so who wins it?
Who wins it? I got Michigan. I got Michigan to take it all. And then that way, our boy can go into Ohio State, and in a couple of years, he gets to be the difference of that matchup. And I'm sitting at TV going, you know what? I'm an Ohio State fan now. My boy Jaylen McClain just went and beat up the Wolverines.
All right. So that's a little bit of college. Talk to me about the NFL, man.
So listen, when we talk about the NFL, get your thoughts on a few of the spotlight games of last week, starting with the game that everybody was talking about, all right? 49ers versus the Eagles. The Eagles have been dominating, they've been winning close games with, 10-1 record, speaks for itself. You win close games, you're a dominant team. The 49ers have gone through a little bit of a rough stretch in the middle, but they got themselves back right. Everybody's looking forward to that game. I think people were shocked by the results, but give me your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I was for sure shocked about this game. Obviously, like you said, the Eagles been dominant for the past couple of games. Everybody remembers the Bills game. Jalen Hurts ended the game at the end in overtime.
Great game.
I feel like that was going to take them,
Like the momentum, bring the momentum into.
Momentum was going to take them to the 49ers game. I felt like the difference was up front. Obviously, 49ers have a lot of skills, but I feel like, the Eagles front was going to, and Jalen Hurts was going to be the difference makers in this type of game. I feel like A.J. Brown's going to have another breakout game. Obviously, he had a stretch of 125-plus yards, in each game. I feel like this is going to be the game he's going to have to get it back because it was going to be hard to run the ball on the 49ers with Nick Bosa, and then you have Chase Young, Fred Warner in the middle.
Yeah,
so
Reek Armstead, they're loaded.
Yeah, so I feel like Devontae and A.J. will have to, even DeAndre Swift in the past game will have to, be utilized a lot. So obviously them losing by about 30 points, was a big shocker. Debo had a really good game, 3 touchdowns. I feel like he was due for a good game as well. So, I was surprised.
So when you watch the games, being the level of football player that you are, do you kind of break away, break down, look at things and see why are they in that defense or something like? Do you kind of analyze it from that, or do you just kind of watch it as a fan and just?
So I watch it as a fan, but also sit and analyze the game and think okay, so what is going wrong with their defense that they can't stop Deebo Samuel? But then I realized that he's a very versatile receiver. I think he had about 20-something yards. He's in the backfield as well with CMC. You can't. It's hard to stop CMC himself, but we have another guy like Deebo Samuel with his versatility. Brock Purdy's
He's like a Swiss Army knife.
Exactly.
Can do a little bit of everything.
And they have George Kittle on the back end as well. Catching passes. Taking people out. Trent Williams as well, running behind him.
Monster.
That's a difference maker right there. So.
Yeah.
I also sit back and just analyze those types of things.
Now, when you look at the Eagles' offense, right? Do you think because we got A.J. Brown, he had a bunch of big games, sort of fell off a little bit. Devontae Smith. Talk to us about the Eagles' offense. Did they fall short, or did the San Francisco defense step up?
For sure, the San Francisco defense stepped up because it's hard in itself to stop DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith,
Talk about it all
Hurts,
the time.
and just the offensive line in general with Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. Those guys, I feel like San Francisco just stepped up and just was like, okay, we're gonna take on this challenge. We have the guys that could possibly match up, with the guys I've mentioned before. And we don't step up. We got to just take it from them instead of survive this game.
Yeah.
Man, listen, it's a great breakdown, and I love that you brought up. When people talk to me about the Eagles and just ask, from a defensive scheming matchups, they are a nightmare to defend because great running back, you got 2 prolific wide receivers, a great tight end, and then when you can even cover all that, you got Jalen Hurts who can go back and make plays with his legs too as well.
Exactly.
I actually wanted to get your thoughts on, with the Eagles, this has been big talk right now, the, what are they calling
Tush
it?
push?
The tush push.
Brotherly
What-
shove. Brotherly shove.
Yeah, the brotherly shove.
Brotherly shove.
What are your thoughts on that play? Because the NFL is talking about they want to get rid of it. What are your thoughts?
It's a football play. I mean, they had an advantage with a quarterback that can squat about 600 pounds. You got AJ Brown back there pushing him. You got the center Jason Kelsey up front giving him the ball and pushing it forward. I feel like you've seen it enough. Stop it. If you can't stop it, then
That's on you.
You can't tell them to not do it.
To ban it, yeah.
Just
I'm with you.
Just stop it.
Well, you know what's funny? Watching the last couple, like the Niners matchup, you could see them like really jam into the middle right there when they were going for the tush push.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how you'll see the initial stop, and then you'll see the surge just start to move forward.
That's that tush push.
They haven't figured out. And to your point, why ban that? Like, figure out a way to stop it.
Exactly.
That is their way of playing. Don't let them get into situations where they can use it.
Exactly. I feel that's where it comes. That comes in, and then like you said, like the initial stop, and then that's when Jalen Hurts kicks in, and like the rest of the touch push comes in. So.
Squatting at 600 pounds on them bamboo bars like
That's
this
really a
guy's
running back
doing
right
now.
there, QB.
Yeah, no, he's and listen. I didn't tell you this before the show. We're all Giants fans here, so we're.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a good man.
Wait,
right
hold on. So we got a big debate,
here.
right?
Whoa.
Big debate, right?
Okay. You may as well get his perspective on this. Yeah, we're ad-libbing a little bit.
Two
here.
games ago,
Right.
we had tied for the number 2 overall pick,
Yeah.
and we won 2 games in a row now.
Yeah.
Are you happy that we won, or are you listen?
This isn't what's best for
let's
the
get a quarterback.
franchise in the long term.
I want you to answer as a fan,
Right.
not an athlete.
Right.
Just were you on the bandwagon of listen, let's try to get this top QB and reset the franchise for 10 to 15 years, or you're listen, win every game and wherever you fall, you fall. Where do you stand?
So as a Giants fan, it hurts, sometimes, but I feel like if you're gonna suck. We're at the bottom end of the the league and the draft picks and stuff like that. And obviously, people say we want a quarterback, but at the point where we're winning 2 games in a row, Panthers probably not the first pick. Chicago will probably be there with them. I think Patriots as well. But
yeah,
Tommy DeVito's doing the job right now. I feel like
Jersey boy, Don Bosco.
Yeah, so Tommy DeVito's doing it right now. Daniel Jones is out. I would like to see possibly how Tommy DeVito's going to finish the season. Obviously, I don't know if he's the franchise guy, but I feel like he could possibly either be that guy or he'll have some value in the trade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, listen, I get that logic,
Yeah.
right? And listen, at the end of the day, right, we all
He was
want our
kind of with
team
you,
to
though.
win.
He's kind of with you. We want to watch our team win.
That
Yeah.
Patriots game, we're tied. I don't
That's
know,
a game I wanted to lose.
2-8, right? Listen, come on, right?
Yeah.
That's right there was
Yeah.
the number 2 overall pick, Drake May, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it was good.
Right, just as a fan, right? As an athlete, listen, you want to win every single game, 100%.
Sure.
We don't play to lose,
Yeah.
but right, as a fan, come on, let's get this.
Yeah.
And there's a business side of it too.
Yeah, those
right?
games you need to lose.
Yeah.
Respectfully as a Giants fan, those
Yeah.
games you need to lose.
All right, so he's
All right,
a
let's
little,
digress,
no,
right?
but he's a little on your side. He's a little on your
yes,
side.
and
So-
now we have the 10th pick or something like that.
that's
All
like-
right.
that's what-
We won't even get the top, we won't even get Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
Yeah, he's gonna be gone.
So
That would have been awesome if you could have came in too to work against him for
Yeah,
1
exactly.
year,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That
Well,
would've been
technically, he said he's undecided,
Yeah,
but
I heard he's undecided.
obviously, he doesn't need the money or whatever. Maybe he wants to
Maybe
come
he
back,
wants a
try to get a
championship.
chip.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants a
But you know
championship.
what? Listen, if you're a top 5 pick, you gotta go to the league,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Now, the quarterback from Ohio State, I know we're digressing a little bit here, but he just went into the transfer portal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can only assume that Ohio State probably has somebody very good coming in, because
Yeah.
why else would he probably want to do
Right.
that? But I know you can't divulge all the secrets,
Yeah.
so it's all good. It's all good.
Let's get back to the NFL, right?
No, yeah,
You
so
know,
we'll stay
listen.
on the NFL. Well, one question really quick about the Giants before I ask you about the other last week's game. If you, where do you think the Giants should go draft pick-wise then next season?
Depending on how Daniel Jones
Then he has to be a player.
he was up by April, with the draft being there, and seeing how the combine goes. I could see them going quarterback or offensive line, because we tried for so long to get the guy for offensive line. We had Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal. Maybe Andrew Thomas had became the guy, but Evan Neal hasn't been that No.
He sucked. I mean, I can say for you, he sucked, right?
Yeah, he's not.
It
Really
hasn't been good so far based
So,
on where he was drafted.
I feel like we need to just keep trying because we're not getting the guys we want. Free agency, trading. We can trade as much as we want. We're not gonna get our guy. So I feel like quarterback, offensive line.
Okay.
Quarterback.
So how do you feel?
I like
So like
that.
I'm a big guy on like listen in today's NFL you need top end wide receivers,
Oh, yeah,
right?
sure,
So.
sure.
Like out of the wide receivers that are there, like who are some of the ones you're most impressed with, or what direction? And let's say you had the opportunity to pick one. Which guy do you think would fit well with the Giants?
I feel like you have to go with Marvin Harrison. Who's on the board. Has wide receiver one potential. From day one. He's one of one. Like you really can't.
He's learning. Got to shout out his Buckeyes right now. He's learning, man. He's a smart kid right there.
You really can't go wrong with him if he's on the board. If not, I feel like you have to go with Malik Neighbors from LSU.
Okay.
Real explosive receiver. Played with Jaden Daniels, Heisman. I feel like you pair him up.
It's a good receiver class,
yeah,
too.
so
This is a good receiver class.
Straight decent quarterback, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, or whoever we pick in the draft or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like those two guys are guys that's must have.
All right.
You
hear that, Giants Nation? Let's see.
All right, we're getting some advice, man. We're getting some advice here. He's talked me off the ledge a little bit. So the other game I wanted to get your thoughts on, and I think this game shocked everybody, was that Chiefs-Packers game on Sunday. Give me your thoughts on that.
I felt like in that game, the Chiefs were due to snap out of it, just run through the Packers. But I feel like the Packers stayed real consistent throughout the whole game.
They were running the ball a lot on that.
It was nothing too big, nothing short. It was just steady down the field.
Consistent drives.
Real consistent every time. And the Chiefs couldn't keep up for some reason. It's nothing as fans we've never seen before in the Chiefs, especially with Patrick Mahomes, running around a lot and getting sacked. We see him make plays where he gets out of those things and makes big plays, but it was going
receivers dropping the ball.
Yeah, exactly. It was going the whole opposite way for them. Obviously, I feel like the league has Travis Kelce figured out almost now.
He's getting older too. He's been a little banged up.
Well, listen, I mean, if we're gonna bring up Travis Kelce, we gotta also say he's in love. Sometimes love slows down a man. It's just gotta acknowledge that. Hey, we're on the Swift bandwagon, right? just saying it. Travis Kelce just might be in love. That's all.
Did you happen to see the video of me dressing up like Taylor Swift?
No, I didn't.
Oh, man. You know what? Maybe I'll have to go and check that out on the Reels at some point. Yeah, it's up there. So it's interesting, though, that you're bringing up just the fact that the Chiefs, we're so accustomed to the Chiefs, eventually, they snap out of it, they figure something out, and they make a comeback. And it never came in that game. What do you think is the biggest issue facing the Chiefs right now in terms of them trying to go and repeat?
It's definitely the offensive line. Obviously, we know Patrick Mahomes is able to run out the pocket, step up in the pocket, deliver pretty good throws, but it gets old sometimes. I feel like Patrick Mahomes definitely feels that, taking hits and getting tripped up, and he can only but do so much as a quarterback. And when you have receivers that can't catch the ball when it's time to make those plays, it's time to I need a touchdown, we throw it deep, and you dropping those passes, or I gotta break a tackle, throw it across the middle and dart it, and then only a spot you could get it, and you're dropping those passes. I think it's time for the offensive line and receivers to step up.
It's interesting that he says the offensive line too, because in the middle, I thought they were pretty good, but the Packers were getting a lot of pressure that game.
Yeah, well, listen, I think when you break down the offensive line, I think the left side is strong, right? I think Jawan Taylor is a guy that they just brought in, right tackle.
Yeah, he had a lot of penalties though.
A lot of penalties. Right, and because of his, we'll say, weakness, right, or lack of consistency, right, I think that makes the other guys a little bit more vulnerable because they're trying to make up for him, right? As an offensive line, it's a unit, right?
Yeah.
And if they all move in lockstep, right, they can dominate, right? But if one guy is cheating or is slow, right, and you got to overcompensate for him, then it creates opportunities of weakness. So we might be, I think it's Trey Smith, the right guard. So we might be looking at him, but last year he had a great season, but this year is a little questionable.
Tooney and the center are pretty good.
Exactly, right? So I definitely feel you on that, and I think that's where some of the deficiency might be coming in that offensive line. Now, real quick, do you think it was the right decision to trade Tyreek Hill?
I feel like,
even though they won a Super Bowl, let's officially say that.
Sure.
I feel like with a duo like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, it was definitely the wrong decision because they worked so well with Tyreek, and I don't know how the money situation was going on because we're not behind the scenes on that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we have Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Patrick Mahomes. Those guys made the offense, and when you don't have that no more, you have to adjust. And Travis Kelce not the deep threat guy, but Tyreek Hill opened up that offense. Allowing Travis Kelce to get open as well, and it just became like a double threat that you really can't figure out how to stop. But then when you lose that threat, and you only got the one guy that's not like the burner, like the league is evolving. You're gonna pick up on the tight ends now, but it's hard to stop someone with 4.2 speed, and you can't even cover them with a safety over the top. So,
it sounds like you're kind of saying too, the Chiefs probably, because they can't go back now and get Tyreek Hill. What's done is done. Make a deal at the deadline to go and get a receiver. Right. Like, why didn't they get themselves into that kind of an equation?
So I actually have no idea why they wouldn't go do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go out in the draft and get somebody. Whether I don't know what draft pick they'll have, it'd probably be a high pick, but there'll definitely be a receiver on the board that has the potential.
It's a deep class receiver.
It is.
Yeah, it is a deep class receiver.
All right, so you bring up the offense, right, and how explosive it used to be. The Chiefs are playing the Bills this week, right, and that's a big game. The Bills are hungry, right? They're trying to make the playoffs. The Chiefs just lost a game. The Chiefs rarely lose 2 games in a row. So in this upcoming week's game, you just shed a little bit of light on how you think that's going to play out. Do you think the Chiefs bounce back? Right, maybe the defense slows down Josh Allen, or does Josh Allen and Diggs and big play Gabe, right? Do you think they open it up and take the win from the Chiefs?
So obviously, like when you have a receiver like Stephon Diggs, like you have to have your eyes on him. So I feel like if it's not a game where Stephon Diggs pops off, it will be a game where either Gabe Davis or James Cook pops off, because obviously we've seen how the Green Bay Packers ran through the Kansas City Chiefs. With their running back. So I feel like if James Cook can find that niche and just, stay at it and the offensive line keeps pushing, it could be a game for James Cook or even like Gabe Davis.
And they've been running the ball more since they've got that new OC too as well. So I like that point too about the running game.
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady, yep. So interesting. I wanted to get your take then. Who do you like in that game? Chiefs or Bills?
So I like the Bills. I feel like they're due for, a win. Like
a big win.
Yeah, something that feels good.
Okay.
So the Chiefs could be in trouble then if they lose that game.
Lose 2 in a row.
This might be influencing the pick segment too as well. So I mean, it's gonna be tough. We got the expert over here telling
that's big. Chiefs might miss out on the number 1 overall seed and that type of stuff. So that might be.
So I got to ask him one more game question on a pick, and then we got to ask him about his MVP too. All right. So really quick. Cowboys Eagles, that's like the highlight matchup of the week. I know us as Giants fans, we just have to kind of hold our nose as we watch the game.
Well, listen, I think officially, right?
It's a good game.
Well, separate from that, I think officially we all hate the Cowboys, right? Like we gotta pick Cowboys or Eagles,
It's tough either way.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's just officially put that.
It's in Dallas. Who do you like?
It's in Dallas too. So I feel like it's definitely gonna be a really good game. Pretty much Dallas Cowboys defense. Eagles, the explosive offense, it could be a good one for the run game as well, but I have to go with the Eagles, even though it's in Dallas. You can't bet against the Eagles, especially Dak's having a great season, CeeDee Lamb's having a great season, but I feel like they balance out too much. But I feel like Jalen Hurts is the difference maker in this game. That puts the Eagles over there.
And they win big games, man.
For sure.
Dallas got to prove they can win big games.
So let's say, all right, Eagles win. Mm-hmm. What do you think the narrative then is, right? Like, do the Eagles win? Is it because Dak fell short? Is it because maybe McCarthy didn't step up on the play call? Like, how do the Cowboys lose?
I think it's simply because the Cowboys can't win big games. It's proven, in the stats that the Cowboys can't win big games.
It's a smart man right here. This is a smart man.
Listen, I think he's an honest man.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, but I'm going to get attacked tomorrow because of how I go. And they're not going to say anything to him. They're just going to go, Jaylen, you were so great on the show. You were wonderful.
Listen, he's
I'm
an
going to get
honest
attacked
man, right? Listen, if the Cowboys win, we'll give them their due. But, to the man's point, right, they haven't won the big game.
Yeah.
Right? And they say, right, to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
Sure.
Right now, the Eagles are, they were division winners last year. They went to the Super Bowl. So, Cowboy Nation, if you want to beat a man, Just take down the Eagles, and everything is in front of you.
Yep.
The number 1 overall seed, the division, 2 games from the Super Bowl.
Even though they still have a tough
Dallas, you can have it all. Now, I just brought up the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Who's your MVP? And tell us about who you think your Super Bowl pick is going to be.
You gotta go with Tyreek Hill.
Love it. That's what I said last week.
Yeah,
Love it.
although we know like it's mainly quarterback type of award, when you have a receiver that's about to go over 2K, like it's hard to not give it to them.
It's about to be a video game.
I know, man.
It's about to be a video game.
That's historical.
Hit
like,
that 2K.
Absolutely.
that's history right there. You gotta give it to the guy that's like about to make history.
Respect that.
All right.
And how about a Super Bowl pick?
I gotta go with the 49ers.
Yo!
Wait. Give us the matchup first. Give us the matchup. Who do you think they play? Who comes out of the AFC? We got the Ravens. We got the Miami Dolphins. We got the Chiefs. Maybe the Bills. Jags just got hurt. Yeah. Texans, right?
I'm going with the Ravens. I feel like Lamar.
Hold on, time out. Wait. Run it back. Hold on. Run it back. Say that again. Who's coming out of the AFC?
The Ravens.
He picked 49ers Ravens before the season. So. But you have 49ers winning.
I got the 49ers winning the game, but the Ravens, they're having a great underrated season.
I agree.
Underrated season. No one's realizing what they're doing because they're just,
So you're on the bandwagon, right? You're on the bandwagon.
It's a good pick right now. It looks like a good pick. It does. It does. It looks like a good pick.
I love being right, America. I love being right. And he's apologizing and saying, "I told you so."
We'll see when we get to the pig segment. Okay. Yeah. But no, listen. I can't argue with that pick. I mean, the way that both teams look right now, the Ravens look extremely dangerous. And I think when you look at them respectively in their conferences, probably the 2 most complete offensive and defensive teams on each side of the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be a fantastic Super Bowl.
Yeah, and listen, one interesting debate, right? We got a little bit of time left in the segment. Talk about Brock Purdy for a second, right? Like, everybody's like, is he an elite quarterback? Is he a really good quarterback? Is he just benefiting from all of the elite weapons?
Right.
Tell us what you think about the Brock Purdy situation right now.
So Brock Purdy is not elite, but he's definitely a good quarterback that's right in the right circumstance with all those weapons beside him. You can't blame him for that because it's just what he was picked in. So he's taking advantage of what he has and he's running with it. So I respect it.
Okay,
make the most of it.
Right. Yeah, and listen, the transition to the NFL is always hard, always difficult. And, we sort of touched upon this a little bit earlier, but why don't you just shed some light, right? What do you think the biggest difference is going to be from high school to college? And then what do you think the biggest difference would be from college to the NFL in terms of transitioning and the different levels of the game?
So definitely from high school to college, it's definitely time management, adjusting to the speed of the game because, you're going against obviously, I go against great people every week, but it's nothing like going against, Michigan or a Maryland, Penn State type of school. It's not the same. And obviously, being a college student as well as an athlete, you gotta be able to balance.
Gotcha.
That's a good point.
And then with college to NFL, they have to manage money.
And definitely another speed jump too, I'm sure.
Yeah, the speed jump is crazy as well. And then you're a young guy living where where you got picked at. I feel like you just have to adjust to the city, just the life of being a millionaire on a contract.
All right, real quick. You obviously make it to the NFL. You take any team, but if you could pick what team you got drafted to, what team would it be?
Oh, definitely the Giants.
Let's go, baby.
Big
Near and
Blue.
dear to my heart right there.
Big Blue.
Be able to come home, and just be the guy. Have my family behind me all the time. I feel like that'd just be the perfect situation.
Nice. So listen, Jaylen, we've enjoyed having you so much on the show, man.
Thank
it's
you
been
so
awesome.
much.
Oh, before we close out real quick, LeBron or MJ?
MJ.
Oh, MJ.
Told you
Well,
was a
guys,
smart man.
listen. I hope you enjoyed these 2 segments with Jaylen, but we'll be right back after this quick break when we
Run it back.
run it back. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm your host, Shane Mallard. We are doing our final segment. It's segment 3. I run it back. I'm joined by my co-host, of course, Mr. DaCosta. All right. Don't forget, everybody, beautiful people, like, comment, and subscribe on all our major platforms. We just had a fantastic interview with Mr. McClain. I'm not even trying to suck up. What an upstanding, good young gentleman. I mean, the fact that the man is only 17, 18 years old, I mean, he seems wise and mature beyond his years. I enjoyed the interview immensely. What were your thoughts?
Listen, I think a testament to his parents, right? Did an amazing
Raised him
job
well.
of developing a young man,
Yeah.
right? You know, at the end of the day, right? Football is a tough sport, right? But
Great
you know,
insight to the game, too, as
Great
well.
insight in the game. A student athlete, right? So, you know, that's a testament to how he was raised and, you know, his motivation, inspiration, and all those types of things. So, really exciting. And listen, for me, as we talked about in the beginning of this, you know, platform, we wanted to, you know, talk sports, wanted to have an open opportunity to just, you know, chop it up, and, you know, the fact that, you know, we could have this type of interview and it just have fun, right, and have a safe environment for athletes to talk, and, you know, at any level, high school, college, you know, NFL, you know, that's what we're all about. So listen, you know, anyone, you know, we welcome everyone, right? Like, if you want to tell your story, you know, come on board, hit us up in the comments, DMs, because that's what this platform is about, right? We just want to tell.
We want to hear your story, guys.
100%, 100%. So, you know, we want to give you what you guys want, America. So if you want more of this, let us know. If there's an athlete that you want us to reach out to try to get on the show, that's the stuff we want to do and make this real lively for you guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The interview was fun. He was great to talk to. He made it so easy. I mean, it didn't even feel like an interview. It just felt like we were three guys talking sports.
100%.
And for the listen, when he threw out the Sean Taylor name, I was just like, this is a student of the football game. I mean, I was young when Sean Taylor was playing football. So the fact that he could go back and name someone like that, I mean, that
Listen,
was
I think most
cool.
like NFL safeties, right, would say like was the best
That's
safety,
the guy.
right? You know, and if he had the opportunity to play a full career, he
better
would
been
have
the
done
best.
something really special.
Sure.
You know, so definitely, and that's what he watches before every game.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
like
sick.
that. Instead, he tries to take pieces and parts, you know, of what he sees, add it to his game. I mean, it's a guy who's got a very bright future. So I wish him
Agreed.
all the best. And listen, we can't wait to watch him, you know, when he's, you know, taking the field up at Ohio State, man. Might have to take a trip out and see a game there because we got a friend.
Yeah, listen, and that's the thing. If you guys want that, right, you know, listen, you know, next year we'll make sure we hit up an Ohio State game. Listen, we're Knicks fans. We're definitely trying to hit up a Knicks game. You know, listen, hey, you Cowboy fans, I don't know if you guys want to see us out there, but, you know, like, you know, Dallas,
We'll come out. We'll come
Boston,
out.
right? Like, listen, we'll run this podcast from anywhere. So, look, that's what it's about. That's what sports is about,
Yeah.
right? And so definitely looking forward to, you know, doing some of those things.
Yeah, and again, like you said, any high school athletes want to have your story told. Okay, you're an aspiring high school, college. I mean, heck, if we could get a pro athlete, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
But we're willing to tell the story of any aspiring athlete that's trying to make it to that level. And take a message from Mr. McClain, right? Grind. Embrace that grind, man, because that's what it's about. You have to enjoy the grind. You have to embrace it. And that's the difference between you being a good athlete and potentially making it to those higher levels.
100%.
So that was really cool. But listen, man, we got to talk a little bit about the upcoming games this week. It was a heck of a week last year in football. You know, we talked with him about the big surprise games with the Niners just beating down the Eagles. The surprise Packers coming out and beating the Chiefs like that. It's getting down to the nitty gritty now. You know, we got that college football playoff coming up a little bit, but we got an excellent slate of games. Before we get into that, though, we got to go stud of the week last week. So you want to go first or you want me to go?
You go first.
You want me to go
Let's
first?
see where you're going.
All right. Well, listen, on top of that beatdown, the Swiss Army knife made an appearance. I'm talking about one Deebo Samuel. 4 receptions, 116 yards,
Okay.
2 TDs. Oh, let's couple that with 3 carries, 22 yards, 1 TD. And to me, listen, love me some CMC. There's a ton of weapons on the 49ers, but to me, the difference in that game was Deebo Samuel's ability to just kind of make plays, not only in the passing game, but the run game. He gets balls. He gets the ball from various like angles and different spots, and he is so hard to prepare for. Because you come into that game, and the first thing you're thinking is, stop the run game, we got to shut down CMC so they can't get that play action going. But when all else fails, it's nice having arguably the most versatile football player on your team. My stud of the week is Deebo Samuel.
Okay. I mean, listen, if I was you and I was going to pick a stud, I'd go with Brock Purdy.
Okay.
You know, right? The quarterback gets
I like
all the
Brock
love.
Purdy.
I
I
think
like
like
Brock Purdy.
350 yards,
4
4
TDs.
TDs,
Did have a heck
4
of a game.
tutties, you know?
Yeah,
So,
people got to stop saying he's just a game manager. The
you
dude
know,
can play.
exactly. He might not be Patrick Mahomes. He might not be, you know, Joe Burrow. He might not be Josh Allen.
But he's good enough to stomp on the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Ooh,
So-
You said it.
He's good enough to do that. He's good enough to do that.
Now listen, my stud is a little bit more surprising.
Okay.
Right? Some people might not even know his name, right? Because this was his second time starting.
Oh!
Right?
Are you going Bengals?
I'm going Bengals.
You're going Browning.
I'm going Bengals.
Hey!
Right? Jake Browning.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I had to
alright.
pull out my phone because I want to be accurate with the stats.
Okay.
32 for 37.
Great numbers.
354 yards. Now only one touchdown, but 32 for 37. No one, they were 9-point underdogs. No one expected them to win, right? Had the big drive, came back, took the lead. First of all, game time field goal,
Sure.
game winning field goal.
Yep.
He was the decisive one, right?
Okay.
The Bengals still have a shot to make the playoffs because
Yeah.
of him. What Jake Browning did literally kept the Bengals season alive, kept hope. There's a lot of talent on that Bengals team. Listen, sometimes I talk about this all the time in football. It's not losing, right?
Sure.
And unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence got hurt.
I know. I hope
And
he's okay.
It was a great back
Yeah.
and forth game. Much love to Trevor Lawrence.
Which people were not expecting
right?
either out of that
People
game.
were not expecting
In Jacksonville, too.
in Jacksonville. So that's where I want to give so much credit to Browning because
Props.
he stepped up.
Yeah.
He didn't make the mistakes.
He didn't.
He
can
didn't.
run a little, too.
He's
can run a little,
athletic.
yeah.
And listen, if I'm not mistaken, in high school, he threw over 90 passing touchdowns.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And so in the played
He
at
ended up in the
Washington.
NFL for a reason.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
he was
so.
almost out of it, right?
Yeah.
But listen, good throw of the football. The guys there believe in him, and right now he's got a real good story.
Yeah,
Real good story.
sure.
And he's not making the mistakes, so he's not causing the team to lose. So therefore, it's giving them a chance to win.
You know what? It's interesting that you bring that up. I actually have to pull my phone up really quick because I want to go through the other thing that game brought out to me, and I think it's something that the Bengals can use for the future.
You sure? Is it Chase winning fantasy for so many people, dropping 31?
Oh, so
points?
listen, he was obviously awesome. But looking at this both from a fantasy standpoint, if you're looking to draft a running back for the future, especially if you run a dynasty, but also something that I noticed. Did you notice that in the first quarter, Joe Mixon was not the leading touch getter in that first quarter? It was one rookie, Chase Brown, who's been dealing with some injuries throughout the year. But this was a guy that I actually had watched tape of, like setting up for our dynasty draft. And he played for Illinois, so he wasn't as highly touted because he didn't come from as big of a program. This guy can play some ball. He ended up with 9 carries for 61 yards. It's the first time he's gotten that much action all season. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I'm just looking at the Bengals, and I'm like, well, if you can all of a sudden sit there and not just put it all on Joe Mixon to be the same, to be the bell cow, but maybe you have a little bit more of a split back action going forward. Maybe this gives Burrow a little bit more chance to not have to drop back as much, limit the injury risk going forward, and sets up a little bit more of a play action style to their offense. So I thought it was really interesting to see how all of a sudden out of nowhere they just started using him. I would say keep your eye on him for the future. Yeah, man, the Bengals they're playing hard. Despite where they are in the season, they're playing hard. I mean, it kind of just makes you wonder, what if Burrow didn't get hurt? Where would they be right now? But listen, I can't even get mad at your pick. That was a great one. Browning balled out, man. And to go do that in Jacksonville, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And they're still in the hunt.
6-6.
Yeah, they're
6
still
and
in the
6.
hunt. The AFC at the bottom right now, it's just that middle tier. It's
Everyone
nuts.
is
nuts.
stuck
They're
together.
like within
I'm
a game
looking at
of
it
each
right
other.
now. You got Dolphins at 1. You got Baltimore at 2. You got KC at 3 at 8-4. Dolphins and
Ravens.
Dolphins and Ravens are at 9-3.
Yep.
Right. Jacksonville's at 8-4. I think that's going to be real interesting if Trevor Lawrence is out for a substantial time.
Yeah, that could
right?
hurt the Jags big time.
The
I don't know who
Texans
their
are
backup
7-5.
Yeah.
Right? Their backup is C.J. Beathard, right?
Okay.
Is their backup, and so can the Texans sneak in and maybe win the division from them? That's going to be real interesting.
Without Lawrence, it makes it more interesting for sure.
And here's here's their remaining schedule. This coming week they play the Browns.
Yeah.
Then they play the Ravens. Okay. The Bucks, Panthers, and Tennessee.
Okay.
Right. So 2 tough games. Right. But
I think it's really just going to come down to where's Trevor Lawrence's health at. So it's big. But yeah, I mean, the finish to the AFC race is going to be fascinating to see who ends up getting the number 1 seed. And looking at the NFC too, at least at the top, it's interesting right now too with this Philly-Dallas game coming up. So we're going to get into all of that right now. So, well, first, obviously, got to go through picks last week. And, yep, there it is, guys. The Champs hat, game day hat, all right. Jaylen saw this and he was like, oh, that's not Coach wears on game day.
I'm pretty sure he said put it away, put it away.
So listen, it was close because we only split on one game this past week. You had the Jets, I took the Falcons. I'd love to say that it was an entertaining game, but it was anything but. Brutal. Oh my goodness! But Atlanta took it. So I went 9-4, 8-5. So that brings the career records right now as it stands. 118-76 for Mr. Mallory, and Mr. DaCosta is 106-86. So getting down to the closing weeks here. All right, got to make a little bit of a run, but we're both over 100. So listen, it's been an awesome show already.
It is.
Let's get into these picks right now and let's have some fun with it. I just oh, it's right here. I apologize. No, that's not it. Seattle.
I got it.
You have it?
Yeah, I got it. All right, first game, Thursday night game.
I have it.
Oh, all right, there you go. Lead it off.
Just had the wrong paper. Yes. So Thursday night game, leading off. This game might have actually just started. New England at Pittsburgh. I'll lead this off. It's a tough game to pick. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I have to take the Steelers just because at this point I almost feel like New England is actually trying to get themselves in a position to draft their next quarterback. I expect the game to be extremely low scoring. I actually think the over-under was 22.5 combined between the two teams.
It was ridiculous.
I'm not sure if they would reach that. I could see like a 10-8 type game. I really could. But I'll take the Steelers.
All right, listen, I agree with you. I believe in Mike Tomlin, and so I'm going with the Steelers.
Okay. All right, so we ping this one back to you. We've got Tampa Bay going into Atlanta. I'm starting to really like Atlanta's defense, too.
Yeah, defense is really good. They got a lot of great weapons on offense, right? Bijan Robinson is finally getting the ball.
Shawnee Production always says they're a quarterback away.
They're a quarterback away. So, listen, the Falcons win at home. Desmond Ridder plays well at home. I'm going to go with the Falcons here.
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree with you. Tampa has they've really, kind of trailed off this second half of the season.
And they're still in it.
No, they are still in it.
No one has run away with it.
No, you're right.
If
the bottom
Tampa Bay
of the
was
NFC,
to win here, they're
right back in the conversation.
100%. Mike Evans is having a great season.
He is.
Shout out to Mike Evans.
He is. What's his name too? Rashad White has been playing exceptionally well too, as well for the Bucs. But I'm with you. The Falcons play extremely well at home. Their defense is really starting to find an identity for themselves too. It's a good young up and coming team. So I'll take the Falcons. Mm-hmm. So we agree there.
Actually, no, I'm gonna change.
You're gonna change?
I'm gonna change. You know what? As I think about it,
you gotta make a game. Okay.
I think about it. Now that I think about it more, I think Tampa Bay is the more desperate team. I think their season literally relies on this game. You brought in Baker Mayfield for this game, and so as I think about it a little bit more, I think I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to jump on the Tampa Bay bandwagon. Not a huge Baker fan, but I think the team will be desperate enough.
They have the talent to go and win.
They have the talent and they have the experience. And as I think about it, I think that experience might separate them, and Tampa Bay might pull this one out.
All right, savvy little renege right there. All right, we'll see if it pays off. All right, so this one's come back to me. Listen, I know divisional games can be tough. This is Detroit at Chicago. I'm sorry, I like Detroit. Detroit seemed to bounce back really well. The fact that they were able to go in on the road, play a pretty tough New Orleans Saints team who's got a pretty solid defense. It's a great game, too. Heck of a shootout. Detroit, I feel like, has somewhat rebounded into, at least they're going to beat teams like this. That Packers game was definitely a little bit of a surprise. But I just think too many weapons, too much offense. I just don't think Chicago can hang with them over the course of the game.
I disagree. This is my upset of the week.
Whoa.
My upset of the week. And listen, I like the Lions. I think
taking his chances right now.
Listen, the Lions, I think, is a great story. I think Justin Fields has something to prove here.
Okay.
I am concerned about the pass rush of the Detroit Lions.
Defense has been struggling.
So I think this is the type of game that Justin Fields is going to go off for over 100+ rushing yards. 2 tutties from
he said
tutties, right? From wide receiver DJ Moore.
Oh, okay, DJ Moore, yeah.
So Listen, close game, and I think the Bears defense are going to be able to slow them down. So I think
They're
this
good
is gonna
against
be a
the run.
close one.
They are actually very good against the run.
24-20 Bears.
Wow. Okay. All right. This one goes to you. We've got. It's an interesting game. I wouldn't have thought so 2 weeks ago, but Indianapolis at Cincinnati.
Ooh, really good game. Listen, I was just giving Jake Browning his props. I think that team is believing in him. I think the Colts are playing well. I think the Colts believe in their quarterback. They got a really nice rhythm. That defensive line plays well.
And they just won one game on the road.
Listen, Michael Pittman, I feel has a little DJ Moore in him year after year. He just puts up yards and numbers, surprisingly. I didn't think he was going to have that great of a season. But here, you know what? I am going to ride the Jake Browning train. I think he's not going to make the mistakes that will cause them to lose. And I think the Bengals make it 2 in a row under Jake Browning.
This is a very interesting game. I think Indianapolis might be one of the more talented teams that not enough people are talking about just from a roster standpoint. They have a really underrated defense. But again, I can't bet on a team to go win back-to-back road games. They won a tough, hard-fought game against Tennessee. I think their luck kind of runs out. And again, as I just said before, I think Cincinnati has figured something out with their run game and a way to make their offense a little bit more potent, but also take the pressure off of Browning in general. And I think that's something they're going to lean towards in the future, too, as well with Burrow. I like the Bengals, too. Don't worry, I'll split from you eventually. That one was just...
No, I don't disagree, right? We're on the same page there.
So listen, Jacksonville at Cleveland. This, to me, do we know if Trevor Lawrence is playing in this game or not?
I feel confident to say he's definitely not playing. High ankle sprain.
Hasn't practiced yet.
There. The reports hasn't shown that he's practiced. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be out at least a week or two. But listen, potentially he might be out like 3 or 4 weeks, right? A high ankle sprain is definitely tough to come back from. So let's go with the assumption that he is not playing.
Okay. So listen, he did return to a limited practice today. All right. That's what the reports are saying. Dealing with a high ankle sprain, like you said, after missing Wednesday's session, quarterback's ability to practice a day later. Albeit capped offers hope that he could play unless he's able to practice fully. They think it's going to be a game-time decision. So, I mean, listen, with that in mind, I just think Cleveland is struggling right now, but if Lawrence can't play, I'm going to have to say that I don't see C.J. Beathard going on the road to Cleveland. I know they've been struggling on offense, but I feel like Cleveland's got enough on defense. Myles Garrett is still playing. I like Cleveland.
I agree with you. Listen, ultimately, I think this game, if Trevor plays, he's going to be compromised, right?
Yeah.
And so, Joe Flacco showed me something this past game, right? He
can still throw the deep ball.
He can, right? So I'm going with the Browns here. I think the defense is too good. I don't think the Jags offense will be able to overtake them.
All right. I like that. Okay, so this one goes back to you. I feel like we're going to agree again. Carolina at New Orleans.
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Winston is playing this game. Jameis
It's possible.
Winston.
I know Carr is in concussion protocol. He's dealing with several ailments.
Better for the Saints, right? I think he's a better thrower of the football, and I think that team is going to rally around him. I think
a little turnover prone, but
right. You know what? I think he's going to get it together, right? Because he comes in at spots and doesn't really have enough time to practice. Full week of practice. I think he's going to come out play very well. I think that offense is going to have some rhythm. So I expect them to put up 30 here. The Panthers can't score more than 17 points. Saints win.
So it's interesting that you say that. I actually like Carolina to come out early and make it seem like it's going to be a game just because it's a divisional opponent. They know them well. But I'm with you. I like the Saints to pull away late. Too much firepower. They have a better defense. And to your point, the Panthers just can't score points. Like, they just cannot score points. And I just think the Saints, between their defense and their offensive production, I think Rashid Shaheed is back in this game too as well.
Okay.
They'll have Kilmara. Olave has been playing well. I like the Saints. Okay, so this is back to me. I think it's a tougher game than it looks on paper, but I'm still going to go. So this is Houston Texans at the New York Jets. Listen, Shawnee in production. I hate saying this, man, but the Jets' offense is just, it's just
Putrid.
It's putrid. It's hard to watch, man. Watching that Falcons-Jets game was like watching paint dry. It was tough. How can you not roll with the Texans right now? They are firing on all cylinders. Our boy McClain showed out how C.J. Stroud deserves to be more respected and be in the MVP conversation. I like the Texans in this game.
Listen, I 100% agree. Big C.J. Stroud fan. Zach Wilson is starting this game. Listen, he's lost his confidence. The team doesn't believe in him. I think his completion percentage is at 52%. He's not seeing the field. He's not developing, right?
Yeah.
First of all, look at those two quarterbacks, right? CJ's only been in the league, 12, 13 games. Zach Wilson, this is his third year, right? You could just see the difference, between the two of them. And so I'm going to go with the better quarterback. Even though I think the Jets have a better defense, I think the Texans' defense is more than formidable and will shut them down.
Couldn't agree more. All right, so this one goes back to you. We're going to go the Los Angeles Rams, who are playing well right now, at Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
I think this is a much tougher game to pick than people probably give it credit for.
Listen, when you look at this game, Rams are playing well. Matthew Stafford has played well. You got Puka, you got Cooper, you got Kyron in the backfield.
Yeah.
But listen, they beat more. I'm rocking with the Ravens. I'm rocking with Lamar. They're gonna do the damn thing.
So I gotta tell you, I'm sitting here looking at this one, and I really want to pick the Rams. I do. I like their weapons. I love the way Stafford has been playing. I just don't trust Stafford's somewhat lack of mobility getting into his older age, and I don't trust this offensive line against Baltimore's ferocious pass rush. Again, best pass rush in the league, just in terms of sacks, numbers, production. Unfortunately, I have to go with Baltimore. But what I will say is, I do think the Rams may give them a little bit of a fight. I know Baltimore's coming off the bye, maybe a little bit sluggish to take a little bit of time to get in the game. I do like the Rams to make this game, but I like the Ravens.
I think the Ravens are starting to smell it, right? First overall seed, right? Bye. They can taste it. They're one game up on the Chiefs. If they win out, if they win majority of these next games, they can overtake Miami. They play Miami. That might be for the number one overall seed, second to last week of the year.
I think it's in Baltimore.
And it's in Baltimore, so I think the Ravens can taste it, and they're going to show their dominance.
I like it. All right. So, this is an interesting game, and both teams really need this game right now. We're going Minnesota Vikings at the Las Vegas Raiders. Man, you want to talk about a toss-up game. Let me tell you something, man. After kind of burying the Raiders early in the season, I like how this team has looked the last couple of weeks. I respect what the Vikings have done, too, as well. I like Kevin O'Connell. Dobbs, I think everybody kind of piled up on it. And the guy was due to have like a somewhat subpar game sooner or later. It was a divisional rival, too, as well. But I'm going to tell you, I like Vegas in this game. Okay. I like the way Jacobs has played the last couple of weeks. The rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell.
Yep.
He's looked like he started to get much more comfortable. I mean, that Chiefs game, they were scared for a little bit. He's not making a lot of mistakes. Max Crosby is the Energizer Bunny. He just doesn't stop. I like the Raiders, but I think this is going to be a bit of a shootout, this game.
All right, listen, I'm going with the Vikings here, right? I think Dobbs gets it together. I think the coach simplifies the offense for him. That offense, has played well. There's a chance Justin Jefferson might come back. But that defense has kept them in these games over all of these weeks.
I think it's a toss-up.
Right? Shout out to Brian Flores, right? Has really made the difference in that organization. They're in the hunt. This is a game they need. They win this game, they're firmly put themselves in good playoff position. So I'm going to go with the Vikings here.
Okay, all right. Again, to me, it's a toss-up game. Both teams need it. Seattle at San Francisco. I don't really need to spend much time on this one. Listen, Seattle, I think they kind of gave it their last hurrah. Maybe they make it competitive. San Fran's rolling on all cylinders right now.
100%. I think, look, competitive divisional game, but San Francisco, no letdown. They're going to beat them down again.
Yeah, I hear you. Big showdown game. Mr. McClain said the Bills are going to take this one. We got Buffalo at KC. Who we got?
Oh,
It's a hard one, man. It's a hard one. I don't envy you
Chiefs
having
don't
to lead.
lose back-to-back games, right? They don't lose back-to-back games. The Bills look really good. I like Joe Brady in the ear of Josh Allen. And look, I'm a Chiefs fan, and I'm going to do this because either way I win. I'm going to pick the Bills. And if I'm wrong and the Chiefs win, I'm happy.
You've done this. Let me tell you something.
Right?
You've done this.
I'm
this
happy.
is going to be your third time doing
I think
it.
it's the second.
This
It
is your
my
third time. This is your third time because you
time.
picked the Jags,
And
then you picked
Miami.
the Dolphins, and
I did.
all right.
I did.
Listen.
So I'm going to go with the Bills reluctantly.
Okay.
Right? Go Mahomes, but I think Bills are starting to get healthy on defense. I'm looking at this objectively.
I just
the
realized
Chiefs are, what's it called? They're struggling on offense, and I don't know if they can put up more than 21 points. So
Here is the issue that I'm having, and I was going to pick the Chiefs. The Chiefs suffered a ton of injuries in that game against the Packers. Their second string linebacker went down, so they're down now to like their third string middle linebacker. They had multiple D-backs go down. One, I think they said was reported he's out for the season. So this vaunted defense all of a sudden that had been playing so well, it's struggling. Between that and somewhat of like just the issues they have with the pass catchers, Buffalo's a desperate team. They're also a dangerous team, and they've always matched up well with the Chiefs just in terms of being able to score points. I hate to say it, but I think I'm going with Buffalo too as well. It's the first time I've picked against Kansas City all year.
If the Chiefs win, I'm not going to be upset.
I wouldn't either because I love the Chiefs. But I have to pick the Bills. Because if they don't win here, they're done. Denver at Los Angeles.
Ooh.
Oh, I think I take the lead here.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So this is a tough one to pick too as well, just because like the Chargers are the Chargers. Like they'll be competitive. Denver just lost again. You know what? I'm going to roll with Denver. I'm going to roll with Denver for the simple fact that to me, this game is just going to come down to I think the teams are very close in terms of talent and potential. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a coaching, and I'm going to trust Sean Payton over I can't even remember Staley.
Yeah, Staley. Listen, I can't disagree with you, man. Like I can't, pick the Chargers, right? They can't get right, so I'm going with the Broncos here.
All right. I think we split on this one here. Philly at Dallas.
This is the big one.
This is the big one.
This is the big one. You just went, so this is on me?
This is on you.
This is on me. Listen, the Eagles are coming off of a loss, right? The Eagles are pissed. Jalen Hurts is all about business. This is a game that there's every reason the Dallas Cowboys should win. Every reason is in front of the Dallas Cowboys. Dak, MVP, number one in the division. Mm-hmm. Potentially pathway for number one in the NFC. There's every reason for the Dallas Cowboys to win and have a clear path to the Super Bowl.
And they're at home.
Philadelphia Eagles win.
Wow. Well, I've been rolling with the Eagles all year. And listen, Dallas, not hating on you. I'm from the show me state. You got to show me you can win these games, okay? And again, a little wager on that too as well. I bet on the Eagles to come out and win this division. You had the Cowboys. So the fact that you're switching kind of shows, the tide might be changing.
Listen, but technically, let the record show, I do have the Dallas Cowboys to win the division.
Yeah, so
right?
they could still win it. Yep. All right, so the final, we have 2 Monday night games. Tennessee at Miami. I think that's an easy one.
blowout Miami.
We'll take Miami. And then finally, Green Bay at the New York Giants. Giants have been playing well, but I just think Green Bay has a little bit more talent, unfortunately. I'm going to take Green Bay.
I agree. Jordan Love is showing something special right now.
He's got another chance.
Now, Christian Watson, looked hurt. The Giants have an opportunity to upset here, but I got to roll with the Packers.
All right. Well, listen, that wraps up this week's episode.
Actually, I lied. I'm going with the Giants. I'm going with the Giants. I'm going with the Giants.
All righty.
Primetime game.
Wow. And you're the one who wants them to lose.
Hey.
But listen, that is all the time we have for this week's episode. Run it back, all right? I am Shane Mallor with my co-host,
Ricky DeCosta.
And we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, please. But we will see you next week when we
run it back.
Run it back.